Now that we have our Baby Lock Rachel, which will also work for the Baby Lock Grace, threaded, and we have the bobbin put in and wound and threaded also, I'm going to show you a great feature with this machine called the Automatic Buttonhole. We will use stitch number 34, so I will turn the knob until I get to 34. This nice automatic feature will show us that our presser foot, instead of J, will now be A. So I will open my compartment and I will find my presser foot A, which is the buttonhole foot. And notice you can barely see it, but it will have the A stamped into the foot. So if you can read the letter, this is the way that the foot will go on. So we'll snap it here. But before we do that, we will take our button. We will push the back lever open and we will insert our button. This way the machine knows the size of the button in the back and what size to do your buttonhole. To snap off your J foot, we will touch the black button in the back and remove it. We will line up our A buttonhole foot up underneath our ankle and we will snap it down onto the bar. Okay. Before I put my button in my foot, I usually lay it on my fabric and I take some chalk or water-soluble marker and I will mark my two lines where I want my button. And I'll put my button in my foot. Now, instead of sewing forward like a regular stitch, the automatic buttonhole will sew backwards. So I'm going to take my first mark, which will be the bottom of my buttonhole, and I will carefully line it up between the three lines that's on my buttonhole foot. There's 3 red lines. Okay. I set my speed to medium to semi-fast. And I will either hit the start button or use my presser foot. Foot control. Now, if I do, and I do not have the buttonhole lever down, it will give me an E3 code and it will flash. It means I forgot to lower my buttonhole lever. So on the far left of your machine, there's a lever that has a buttonhole on it. And you will lower it all the way down, and you're going to lower it back behind the first tab. So this lever will now be working between the 2 tabs, which tells the machine how big the buttonhole is in the back of your foot. So now that I'm ready, I will just hit the start button. It will automatically tie it off. If the needle is stopped down, I hit my needle up, needle down button. Raise my presser foot, which will reset the buttonhole foot for your next buttonhole. Pull my fabric to the left and use my cutter on the side to cut it off. You have now made a buttonhole for the size of your button. I will take my seam ripper or scissors and cut my thread. If I'm using my scissors, I will fold my fabric in half and kind of clip a notch and cut it. If I'm using my seam ripper, I will just grab the bottom and pull all the way up and try not to cut that thread. I will take my buttonhole foot off by hitting the button on the back, raise my lever, take my button out, and now I have a perfect size for my button.